Because he's so attractive. Krishna's so attractive. If you focus on this pastime, it's so full of rasa and prema that it's bound to rub off on you. Right? I think.
Sounds like it.
Sri Radha Damodar ki jai. So, yesterday we left off with Yashoda and Krishna embracing, and Yashoda feeling ecstasy and Krishna feeling love. Krishna likes to feel love. Actually, he thrives on love. So he hankers for love, and he was hankering for the love of his mother. And after they had been separated for a little while, they came together. So they embraced, and she felt ecstasy coming from his bliss, and she felt love coming from him. Now, I told you something yesterday that was wrong. I said that they were separated for 3 days. That wasn't true. The separation was after the trees fell down. Nanda came out. Coward men tried to assess what was happening, and finally they saw Krishna, and there's no translator? Right? You're going to be the translator. So I'll talk slow. So remember yesterday we were saying that Mother Yashoda was feeling guilty for tying Krishna up. And in her guilt and her shame, she stepped back away from Krishna, and Nanda Maharaj came forward and he embraced Krishna. And Yashoda can feel whatever Krishna's feeling. So Krishna was angry, and so she was feeling Krishna's anger, plus she was feeling her own remorse for having tied him up, because the trees could have fallen on him. And Nanda Maharaj and other people also thought this was the wrong thing to do, so that just rubbed it in. So what happened is after this, she went to her room and she stayed in her room for 3 days. She wouldn't come out. She was feeling so ashamed. So yesterday I said that Krishna and her were separated for 3 days. That's not true. Krishna and her were separated from that point where she backed off, went away, and then Krishna was exchanging with Nanda Maharaj. And they were having this exchange about how bad Mother Yashoda was for tying him up, and Nanda Maharaj didn't approve of it also. So she went to her room, and I don't know how long that was, but it must have been a couple hours at least. So, as we said yesterday, Nanda Maharaj kind of tricked Krishna because they were talking about how wrong it was to tie him up. So Nanda Maharaj said, well then we should thrash her, beat her. And that broke Krishna's anger, because he said, you can't do that to my mother. And he said, well, she did something bad, so we're just going to have to see her suffer. And Krishna couldn't tolerate that idea of his mother suffering. So then at that point, his anger was broken and he ran to his mother. And his attitude changed. When his attitude changed, Mother Yashoda felt a difference in her heart, because whatever Krishna feels, she feels. And so Rohini brought Krishna to Yashoda, and then they embraced. And Krishna was feeling this love of Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda was feeling the ecstasy of embracing Krishna. So therefore we read yesterday that if you took all the happiness in the world, multiplied it 1,000,000 times, it wouldn't equal, all the love in the world, multiplied it 1,000,000 times, it wouldn't equal one drop of the love Krishna was feeling for Mother Yashoda. And if you took all the ecstasy in the world, multiplied it 1,000,000 times, that wouldn't equal one drop of ecstasy Mother Yashoda was feeling coming from Krishna. Now, throughout this discussion, we've been talking about and noticing something which is typical of Krishna Lila, is that sometimes Krishna thinks he's a boy, and sometimes he thinks he's God. And it keeps going back and forth, in and out. And even sometimes the devotee gets a glimpse that Krishna is God, then they forget. It goes in and out. So we saw this many times in this Lila. Whenever Krishna had to enact the next stage of the Lila, he would go into God. And it was said his Aishvarya Shakti would take over. Then he could think, okay, now what should we do? And then he would go back into Lila, and then the Lila Shakti would take over. So what's actually happening is very interesting. What's actually happening is what is causing Krishna to forget he's God is when there's an exchange of love with his devotees. That love causes him to forget. It takes him out of godhood into whoever he is. And just as the devotees, they don't know Krishna's God, he doesn't know he's God. It's the same thing. And it happens for the devotees. As Yashoda saw the universe in Krishna's mouth, she thought that he was God. Love overtook her, and then she forgot immediately, right? And then we had discussed how once they forget, they can't remember, right? It wasn't like Yashoda a week later said, wow, what was that I saw in Krishna's mouth? How was that possible? There was no remembrance, recollection. And the explanation is, when love takes over, it goes into the present moment. So what's ever happening now is conducted by love. So they can't think of anything other than the present moment. And in the present moment, Krishna's her child. So it doesn't matter whatever evidence there is that he's God. As soon as love takes over, you're now in the present moment, loving Krishna as your child. And as soon as love takes over, Krishna's now in the present moment as a 3-year-old baby. And feeling all the emotions of a 3-year-old baby. Even though a minute ago, he was thinking about how to enact the Leela as God. Or like we were discussing with Nalukavera and Manigriva, they were offering Krishna prayers. You're the Supreme Personality of God. The whole material world is bound by your energy, by the 3 gunas. And Krishna's not sitting there thinking, what are they talking about? Who are they addressing? I have no idea. Because the energy of love wasn't there. So because the love wasn't there, he's back in his godhood. Now, if that isn't good enough, it gets better. If you read Nectar Devotion, or you read Madhurya Kadambini, or Chaitanya Charitamrita, or Jaiva Dharma, you learn about the stages of love. And there are 5 stages in Bhava, and there are 5 stages in Prema. So, when these things are described, they're described in relation to Krishna, how the devotee experiences love of Krishna. He goes through different stages. Bhav, Vibhav, Anubhav, Sanchari Bhav, Sthayi Bhav, Vyabhichari Bhav, like this. And then you have Prema and the different stages, right? Anurag, Rag, Pranaya, what else? Rag, Rag, Anurag, Sneha, Pranaya, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav, like that. So it describes all these different emotions, feelings, symptoms that the devotees go through in relation to Krishna. But you may not know, when Krishna is with his devotee, he goes through those same emotions in relation to his devotee. Isn't that interesting? So because it's love and it's transcendental, he's also going through these same emotions. Like we see Krishna experiences separation. But it's not for himself, it's for the devotees. It's different when Mahaprabhu comes, because now he's playing a part of a devotee. So then it's for Krishna, in the mood of Radha. But this is Krishna's affection, and all the symptoms of ecstasy that are described in scriptures that devotees go through, he goes through in relation to his devotees. So he's experiencing a prema. Isn't that interesting? Because in our condition, because we're coming from this condition of being very self-centered, we naturally think, and we hear about the pure devotees, that we naturally think, why would Krishna have any affection for me or attachment or anything to do with me? Because I don't even think of him that much. As we were saying yesterday, sometimes I don't even think of him while I'm chanting his name. I think of something else. I think that I'm hungry or tired, or I'd rather do something else. So because we're like that, we don't have this experience of Krishna being controlled by us, and Krishna experiencing, and our relationship with Krishna experiencing these high levels of love. And because Shastra always describes everything from the devotee going towards Krishna, you don't see there's a whole science, chapter 24, the science of Krishna's love for the devotee. It's always how the devotee develops love for Krishna. So sometimes we can have a tendency to not understand that Krishna can have affection for his devotees in this intense way. Or even to understand that Krishna has feelings, because when you say he's God, it's like, well, he's God, so nothing bothers him, isn't it? Like you see Krishna, he was afraid of Yashoda, right? So there's 5 direct rasas and 7 indirect, and one of the indirect is dread, and it produces a certain emotion, and that's the emotion Krishna was experiencing. The same emotion devotees feel in dread, like maybe I'll lose Krishna, or Krishna's in the clutches of Kaliya. You feel dread. It's a certain rasa. Krishna feels that also. Like his mother's with a stick, and he's feeling afraid. And that's why Kunti said, it's so strange that your fear personified fears you, but you're afraid of Mother Yashoda. That means Krishna's going into this rasa of dread and experiencing it just like a devotee would experience it. So I was listening to a lecture by one of my godbrothers, and he was saying that he went to Cambodia, and in Cambodia every evening at 5 o'clock these families of a few hundred people go on the bank of the river, play music, and they all dance for like an hour. And the 2- and 3-year-olds dance also. Actually, I saw a video. Somebody was dancing and his dog was dancing with him. He was doing the same thing he was doing. So this devotee was saying that if a 2- or 3-year-old is dancing, then you don't think his creator dances? If even a little baby, and he's a little baby, can do something God can't do? Just that whatever tendency we have, we should understand it comes from him. So sometimes there is a tendency, because of our upbringing, I don't know about in Indians, but Western upbringing, that when you say God, it's kind of like a non-sentient being who just is God. Isn't it? Something like that. Well, I don't know if in the Jewish religion it's kind of nothing, so you don't really know what it is. But, it's kind of abstract, isn't it? Kind of up there. Burning bush, maybe? In Christianity, it's a statue. I don't know. I was raised Jewish. I never figured it out, what God was. Burning bush was about the closest I got. But the burning bush, stay away from the burning bush because it could burn you, right? And fire is anger, and God was angry, and these things. So we don't see this intense loving side. And here in this pastime, you see all these emotions of love that Krishna's going through with Yashoda. Fear, and now feeling her love. So he went through, this pastime had separation, remember, when Mother Yashoda put Krishna down, then there was separation. God feels separation. Does that sound strange to you? God has fear, God feels separation, he feels lonely, he gets angry.
It's not, to me it doesn't sound unusual. What's the point is maybe we don't often think of Krishna
Yeah. It makes sense, but we don't, In our Western tradition, we don't think that way.
Too concerned with ourselves.
Yeah.
But he is not attached to anything. Why he feel lonely? When?
He's very attached to his devotees, but he's not attached to anything material. He's extremely attached. Just like if one of our, yes?
Sorry, just when he left devotee, it was the devotees and they attached to their love, but he left them and the Shastra he read it. He's not attached to this.
That's tattva, not rasa. You think Krishna can live without the gopis?
Of course he doesn't.
Yeah, so that was a lila.
When he feel lonely?
What?
When he feel lonely?
When does he feel loneliness? Every day. He's thinking of Radharani. When he'll meet Radharani. Right? Yeah. Anyway, this pastime, it shows various emotions Krishna is experiencing, but the point is, and this is always is a question, that even you can ask this question in Krishna Lila, everyone's experiencing emotions, so you could say, well, don't they know that actually they just came down here to do Lila, and Radharani, Lalita, Vishaka, they're all liberated souls, and this is going on, and they're just playing around. Don't they know? Well, when prema overcomes them, all they know is the present moment of what's going on. That's the effect of prema. And so they're absorbed in whatever emotion they're feeling. And if Krishna is separated from Radharani, he doesn't say, oh, I'm fully detached. The detachment is another kind of detachment. But
you say it's the love of the devotees pulling Krishna from the God to the little boy back. But you say the devotee's love pulls him back, but isn't there some consciousness in his affectionate nature, Krishna, to realise he's playing God and then wants to love his devotees? So it's an equal...
When the prema is there, it's just no. Because you remember in the story, Krishna was crying. I don't know if you were here for that part. Krishna was crying. Oh yeah. Because Krishna is the source of water, right? When he was crying, there was was forming a little lake on the ground. So much water was coming out. And so Yogamaya got worried because this is showing him as God, because an ordinary person can't cry that much water. So then she thought, uh-oh, this is going to ruin everything if Yashoda knows that he's God. Right? So if Yashoda knows he's God, or Krishna knows he's God, and they're engaged in Leela, everything's ruined. So whenever Krishna is not directly engaged in Leela, he'll go out of Leela, figure out what's next, go back into Leela, at least this is how we see it, and then forget that he's God, enter the Leela, and he's totally immersed in this consciousness that I'm this little boy being chastised or loved by my mother. So that's how it works. So, like Mahaprabhu said, that verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you may know that, he said, devotion which is made feeble by awe and reverence. It's like ruined. It's like let's say you and I have been best friends for 30 years, right? And we haven't seen one another for 30 years, and someone says, we're going to fly you to Australia, and we're going to have a program at his house, and we're going to dress you up so he doesn't recognize you. And then we're going to surprise you. So as long as you don't know who I am, it keeps it covered, we can do that. So it's something, it's like Krishna, he knows what to do to increase love, because he wants the love. So he doesn't allow anything to happen that's going to get in the way of the love. So
It doesn't get bewildered by the intimacy of the little boy Krishna and forget her role and to sort of support him. He's,
he wants to forget.
Yeah, but it's Mahamaya herself as a personality serving Krishna in Lila, making forgetfulness.
Yeah. But she knows when he wants, and they also plan it out.
When he wants, but she herself, can she get bewildered into not forgetting to do the right thing? It's not because of the Lila so attractive.
No. She's right there always making it work. Every day they go to Vrindakun in the morning, they plan out the day, Radharani, Yogamaya, like that, Vrindadevi, and they figure everything out. This is what we're going to do today. So that she knows how to make everything happen. So what you learn from this is how much Krishna thrives on love. And the reason that's so purifying for us to hear is because we thrive on sense gratification. And we're trying to be devotees. So that doesn't please Krishna. Right? So if you think, this is a relationship, and in this relationship, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking, it's too cold to go to Mangal Arti. Well, if I had 100,000 rupees for you, if you just came to Mangal Arti, it wouldn't be too cold. That means you love the rupees more than you love seeing the deities. Hate to be blunt, but some of you aren't happy to hear that, right? But you know what I mean. We're always so absorbed in thinking about ourselves. And Krishna, in these pastimes, you can see all he wants is love. And that's what he thrives off. And if you give that love, you make that sacrifice, you become dear to him. And he gives you facility to do that if you want to do it. If you want to read, you want to chant, he'll give you facility. A lot of times devotees say, I don't have enough time to chant my rounds. Especially in the West, right? It's like really hard, I don't find the time. I have a translation for that. You want to hear it? I have to tell you a story first. There's this funny video on YouTube, and it has one of these recorders, and they call it the manslater. It doubles for the manslater. And so what happens is you have this, and your wife says something, or your girlfriend says something, and it translates. Like, I hate you, and it translates, I love you, don't leave me. Or, can I go out today? Sure, do whatever you want. Translates, don't go. Like that. It tells you what women talk is. Right? So I have a devotee slater, and it translates devotee talk. I don't have time to chant my rounds translates as, I don't like chanting Hare Krishna. That's what it means. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we have to hear these things. So, when you hear these leelas, then what happens? You realize that I'm not really far away from this, and this is really everything. This is it. This is what it's all about. Right? And you see Krishna, he's arranging everything for one reason, to get love. And if that shows it's pretty important to him, right? So if you can give your love to Krishna, you're in. You got a good place. Right? Now, by hearing these pastimes, we're learning what love is. Because if we don't learn what it is, we can concoct and think we have it when we don't. Yeah, I love Krishna. I don't really chant my rounds, and this and that. I'm spontaneous, and but I really love Krishna. So then, but you have to know what the symptoms of love are and how to get there to know if you have it. Because if you have it, if you don't have it and you think you have it, that's not good. Right? True or true? Okay. Okay. Yes?
It's interesting because it seems that the pure devotees, they have it and they think they don't have it.
Right, yeah. It's Mahabharata says, if you think you're wise, you're a fool. If you think you're a fool, you're wise. So, we could say, if you think you have love, you don't. If you don't think you have it, you do. And then Lila Shati is going to say, but I don't think I have love. Does that mean I have it? You're going to say that? Yes? You were going to say that, right? No?
I don't have a
See, she said it.
Not because I have it,
But, yeah. When we say, I don't have love of God, and when Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it, it's coming from a different place. It's because when you start to have it, then you realize you don't have it. Because then you start to understand what it is. So we say we don't have it, it's just kind of like, if you make a little advancement, then, you say you don't have it, and then you make a little advancement, you get all puffed up, Oh, I chanted 25 rounds and I got up at 2 o'clock, and isn't it? I gave a great class today. You get a little something, you get puffed up immediately. That's different. Because if you actually thought you didn't have love of God, you would never get puffed up. So when he says, I don't have love of God, he's becoming humble. When we say I don't have love of God, it's kind of, it's a reality check, but it's not full of that kind of humility of realization of, I know that I got a taste of love, now I realize I don't have it. It's like, there are 5 stages of bhava and then different stages of love, so it's a big, long path. Even a sakti, it's not even love yet, it's just very strong attachment. Yes?
But devotees very often feel the attachment to the deities for a particular deity or particular...
Yeah.
So
But when they walk out of the temple, do they faint? Mahaprabhu, when he went to Jagannath Puri, he fainted when he saw Jagannath. So that's what we're talking about.
that kind of love.
Yeah. And he's saying, I don't have any love. I don't have any attachment for chanting. And Thakur Haridas, amazing thing happened with Thakur Haridas was with Mahaprabhu. He asked him, of all people, to ask this question. You would not think he would ask it. He's chanting 192 rounds a day. To do something 22 hours a day, do you have to like it? Yes or no? And he said, please give me a taste for chanting. That means he thinks he doesn't have a taste for chanting. That's amazing. Now, I can say I don't have a taste for chanting. It's not the same as him saying I don't have a taste. When I say I don't have a taste for chanting, it's totally objective. When he says it, it's because he has a taste, and because he has a taste, he realizes the unlimited ocean of taste, and he's so attracted to tasting it that he's going crazy. Like, I need to taste more of this. It's addicting. Yes?
I ask
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And the point also, the main point is that you can't understand love without having it. You can't, so this is all like, like when I grew up in California, so I used to go to the beach all the time, right? And when I grew up, surfing was like the biggest thing that ever hit California. But I was young, I was like too young to surf. So I'd go to the beach and I'd stand on the pier and I'd watch them surf, and I'd be like, I got to do that. But it's a lot different looking at it than actually doing it. Once you do it, it's a different experience. You could look at them and go, oh, that looks cool. But you actually do it, it's a different experience. So, we're looking. There's a stage where you're just looking at the Lila and you're learning about it. And that's what we're doing. We're reading about it. We're learning about it. There's a stage you come to when you chant your rounds and you actually see the Lila. But you're not in it. You're seeing it. Still not understanding it. Prabhupada talks about spiritual television. Have you heard that in the Bhagavatam? So there's a stage in Baba, beginning stage of Baba, you're chanting and you see the Lila. You actually see it. But in the higher stage of Baba, you know who you are and you're in the Lila. Like you may know you're in Madhurya Ras in Baba, but you don't yet know who you are. So you're chanting and you might see Leelas. But in the higher stage of Baba, you know who you are and you chant and you're in the Lila. Wow. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Now, if you had that experience, you'd probably enjoy chanting a lot more than you do now. And you probably wouldn't be talking to anybody while you're chanting, right, or looking at your watch. But the point is, a lot of this is theoretical. So you're looking at it, you're looking at Krishna, Yashoda, you're understanding it. You're trying to understand a little bit, and then as you understand, then when you say I don't have love, it means more. The more you understand it, and the more you say you don't have it, it means more. The problem we have as conditioned souls, as soon as we get something in Krishna consciousness, we become proud. Wow, I got such a taste. I don't know if anybody got a taste like I did. You know what I tell devotees whenever you get puffed up? Just compare yourself to Prabhupada. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're realizing, compare yourself to Prabhupada, the 6 Goswamis. You'll never get puffed up. You compare yourself to Bhakta Bozo and you think, hey, I'm doing good. Isn't it? Yeah, okay. Now compare yourself to the 6 Goswamis. Yeah. So it keeps you humble when you actually, yeah. So, when these devotees say, I don't have love of God, what are they thinking of? They're thinking of the love of the gopis, the love of Radha. I don't have that love. Not that they don't have love. I don't have that love. So they're thinking, they have so much love. And if I don't have that love, I have no, like what did Mahaprabhu say? I haven't died out of separation, so I must not have love.
Isn't it that they know their form, especially the 6 Goswamis, they know who they are in the Lila?
Yeah, but it may not serve their pastime to remember that. But it also shows that in the Lila they think that way. Radharani has love, I don't have love. I have to. I want the love that Radharani has. Anyway, let's read some more of the pastime, because by reading this, it shows us how much love we don't have, and how much love we have for pizza and ice cream, not the holy name in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the deity, and I love to do kirtan. All right. What about when there's no girls there? You still love it? Okay, tonight I'm being really blunt. All right. If you know what I mean. Will you love it when there's not 300 people to listen to you and a good sound system and a lot of girls? No, I love not as much. Right? Isn't it? And that we had discussed that there is a stage of ruchi, but the ruchi is dependent on so many things. Because so ruchi is a few stages below love, and so it's dependent. It's got to be just right. This is right, that's right, this is right, that's right.
What stage the pride doesn't come into? What stage is Shakti above? What stage the pride cannot bring you back?
Prema?
Prema.
Well, it's more, as you go up, it's more subtle.
The pride's subtle.
You could say in the higher stages of bhava, because once you realize who you are in Krishna Lila, once you realize who you are, there's no pride left. Because you can't, I wouldn't think you could realize your Vastu Siddhi with any pride left. Or you could fall from that. So that's kind of the sandhya point between bhava and prema. That was, yeah. But you see, everything with Krishna's devotees, with those gopis, is all transcendental. It can't be material. It's not possible. And that pride is only manifest by yoga maya to enhance the pastime. When the gopis are being trained, if they become proud, then it's a contamination because they're still not pure. But once you achieve prema, every emotion, every feeling, every blinking of the eye, every move you make, every breath you take, it's only for Krishna. And if it looks like envy or anger or jealousy or pride, it's only to enhance the lila. And you're so connected with Krishna, you know what he wants you to do, and Yoga Maya makes you do it. So we were talking about that earlier in this pastime, where Mother Yashoda was churning yogurt into butter, and she was perspiring, and the drops of perspiration on her eyebrow, and it said every drop of perspiration was a manifestation of her love, because nothing she does is out of anything other than love for Krishna. So every step she takes, every move she makes, every perspiration she makes, forsakes, bakes. I was going to say bake, but I don't know. But think of a good line.
That's a line in that song, actually, right?
Bake?
Sting sings every cake you bake.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
And he just has a bit of a laugh on that line.
Oh.
That's in there.
Yeah, so every breath you take, well, we can change it. Every breath you take, every hour that you're awake, every drop you perspirate, it's only out of love. Perspirate's not a good word for a song. But well, as I say, Shakespeare made up words, so he can do it, why not us? Yes?
Is it, as Krishna is all merciful, is it, if we know in this lifetime we cannot get this prema, isn't that Krishna give us a chance, maybe in Boma Vrindavan we can completely take birth in the Lila way?
If you want prema and you're willing to do anything to get it, then you will get it. And that's how you get it. You go to Boma Vrindavan and you get trained up. It's like, I was in Mauritius in 1992, I was the president at that time. And the president of India was coming there, and they were going to have a greeting for him in one of their auditoriums. And so they were inviting religious leaders, and we were invited. And so the day before he came, they explained how they're going to greet them, and we did a dress rehearsal. We said, okay, we're going to come on the stage this way, you're going to shake his hand, you're going to say this, you're going to go off the stage. So Boma Vrindavan is just that rehearsal so that when you're qualified to deal with Krishna. It's like, in a sense, it's like, let's say you're traveling and the temple is going to give you somebody to help you do your service. So what's your first thought? First thought is, you're going to travel and live with this person. Your first thought is, who is he? Because I'm not just going to live with anybody. Does he snore? Does he have a good temperament? Is he neat? Is he clean? Is he nice? Is he fun?
Well, actually cook.
Yeah. Is he a good cook? So, you naturally think like this, don't you? I'm going to be living with this guy. We're going to be on the road, living in a van. I mean, you think like that when you're going to get married, right? Just, take, here, we got somebody for you. Wedding's tomorrow, you wouldn't do that. At least not a Westerner would do that. So, Krishna is he doesn't just want to take anybody. They need to be trained, they have to be ready. So we're getting ready for the big day to meet Krishna. And it started here in the material world. That's what's going on. When you become a devotee, all you're doing is being prepped to meet Krishna. Krishna consciousness is a prep school. That's all it is. With this transcendental prep school, you're being prepared to meet Krishna. And when you graduate from here, you go to Boma Vrindavan. That's finishing school. That's preparation, prep school, finishing school. Finish off all the whatever's left so you can enter Krishna Lila. I did a training with one company, and then after you do the training, you have to do internship until they feel that you're ready to do the training yourself. So it's like that. So, understanding love from this example, every breath you take, every move you make, every perspiration drop you fake. No, you shouldn't fake it. Krishna fakes some tears, but not Yashoda. So, the understanding of love is that when there's love, when there's prema, there's nothing the devotee does that's not motivated by prema. So if it's jealousy, if it's anger, if it's crying, if it's perspiration, if it's frustration, if it's fear, whatever it is, it's motivated totally by prema. Because devotee can't do anything it's not out of love for Krishna. It's not within them to do that. Just like a non-devotee can't do anything out of love for God. They can only do everything motivated to please themselves to one degree or another, extended or personal. A pure devotee in prema can't act out of anything but love for Krishna. And like you see in Prabhupada's life, in his activities, he does these amazing things. He sacrifices his life, and you look at this and you think, why would anybody do that? But that's the nature of love. You can't control yourself. Why did Prabhupada get so angry with Mayavadis? That was his love. He was, when he'd hear a Mayavadi, you'd see he could not control himself. Stop him, stop him. Right? Do kirtan, stop him. Or he'd just walk out, I can't listen to this. Or he'd scream, it's Krishna, it's not the Krishna within, it's Krishna, it's Krishna, it's Krishna. That's love. You can't do anything that's not motivated by love. So, when we're talking about the gopis becoming proud, or Krishna's becoming proud, or this or that, it's all love. When you're talking about a stage less than prema, there could be something that's not pure yet. It's like, there's still something might be there. But when you remove that, then there's prema, and then you enter the eternal pastimes. And there's only love. So we're all in prep school. We're being prepared to love Krishna. That's all we're doing. And as I said yesterday, everything you do that's not in connection with Krishna is just postponing your graduation. You know, like when you do a master's degree or a PhD, when you ask someone, how long is it going to take you? They usually answer, well, it depends how much time I spend on it. Because at least PhD, maybe in some schools masters, you work on your own. You have assignments and you work on your own. So, maybe it's going to take 4 or 5 years, maybe 3.5, maybe 6.5. Because you're working on your own now. So it just depends how many hours a day you can sit in front of a computer or a book before you go crazy. Or if you have to support yourself, you have to work and like that. So, we're getting ready to love Krishna. So every moment of sense gratification is just postponing it. Every bad round is just postponing it. If you chanted bad rounds a day, you just postponed it another day. You just, like I didn't really get closer today. So it's nice to think like that, isn't it? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah. It's something I teach in my japa workshops that we'll read in a minute, but this would be a good thought to end this idea with. That my realization of the holy name is that the holy name is a manifestation of Krishna's love for us. Because if you chant it, you'll get love for him. And love for him is what we want. And it's the only thing that'll make us happy, right? So if somebody loves you, they want to make you happy. And they give you things that will make you happy. And they'll give you things that would end your suffering. And the holy name will make you happy and end your suffering. So it's Krishna's gift of love to us. Isn't it? Yes? So, now Krishna's given you something that awakens your love. That means he wants your love, and he's waiting for your love to be awakened. And every day you chant bad rounds is just another day you keep Krishna waiting. Because you could do it faster if you do it right. And if you don't do it right, it takes you longer. So it's a nice thought to bring into your japa that Krishna's waiting. This is his gift. And I have to do this properly. I have to connect deeply. This is the way love develops. And if I'm not doing it well, I'm just postponing that time it takes me to get back to Krishna. Maybe I won't even get back in this lifetime. And Krishna's waiting. So why should I keep him waiting? We could write many songs tonight out of this class. Krishna has his love song, I'm waiting for you, right? So many lives you've been gone, and it's hard for me to carry on, and I'm waiting for you, just waiting for you to chant some good rounds. Oh, good rounds. I'm waiting for you to chant good rounds. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. It is. So Krishna's given it to us, and now he's waiting. What are you doing with it? This is it. This is, I'm waiting for love. And so that's what we're supposed to get from reading this pastime, is how much he thrives on love. And that's how you enter into Krishna's heart, is through love. There's no other way. You can't get there any other way. And, it doesn't make him happy when we're selfish. When we spend the whole day thinking about what I want, what I don't want, what makes me feel good, what doesn't make me feel good, what's comfortable, what isn't comfortable, how do I look, what people think of me, do they like me, do they think I'm smart, That doesn't give him any pleasure. It might give us some perverted pleasure, but it doesn't give him any pleasure, and it doesn't help the relationship. Right? And here we are. Like Prabhupada used to say, you're on the threshold of deathlessness. That means you're like this close. And what did he mean? It means for 1,000,000 lifetimes, you were light years away. And now in this lifetime, you're like this close. Don't blow it. He didn't use those words, blow it, but you understand, don't blow it? He didn't say don't blow it. He just said, you're on the threshold of deathlessness, but that's how I translate it. Don't blow it because you're so close. You've come this far. And then if you get absorbed in thinking about yourself, it's like, oh my God. It's like, you're 3 feet from from Mount Everest, and you almost risked your life, and you want to get up there, take the picture, and you go, I think I'll go back down. It's like, we're like 3 feet, millions of lifetimes. I don't know, it's kind of hard. I don't know, I'm a really lazy person. It's like, can you imagine? I come up to you and say, here, you can have love of God after millions of lifetimes. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I had other plans today. Isn't it? It's like, doesn't make any sense. And so, if we're so conditioned, we're right on the threshold of love of God after millions of lifetimes, of engaging in rasa with Krishna. I don't know, it's kind of cold this morning, I think I'll stay home. It's like, we're so conditioned. We don't realize. The hope is, by hearing Krishna's pastimes, that you hear about this, what love really is, that you develop a desire for it, and this becomes more important to you than anything else. That's the hope. By hearing about what love is. It's like when Prabhupada came and we saw him, we wanted to be like him. It was so attractive. So we had all these young devotees. Like in 1-2 years, they were like amazingly Krishna conscious, because they were just, I want to be like Prabhupada. That's all I want. I'll do anything to be like Prabhupada. That's why they advance so quickly. So really, there's not a lot blocking us from it being advancing. And Prabhupada was just always trying to make us realize you have something that's like amazing. It's like, hello. We say this in America, it's kind of a joke. Like, you say something to somebody and they don't get it. Like, you tell them a joke and they're like, and then in your mind you're going, hello. And they have this sarcastic saying, the lights are on but nobody's home. It's like, your eyes are open but nothing's working inside. So many times Prabhupada's preaching to us, and you can see what Prabhupada's saying. It's like, hello. It's like what we say in America, duh. Prabhupada's saying, Lord Chaitanya's mercy, once in a zillion odd years, once in 7 billion years he comes, and now it's Braja Prema, otherwise you got to wait 7 billion more years, however much it is, 8,600,000,000 years. You want to wait that long? He comes once in a day of Brahma. Hello, you're in that day. And not only that, he's giving you Braja Prema. That's unheard of. Nobody gets Braja Prema, and you're not even qualified. That's like a duh moment. Like, oh, I guess I should do that. Yeah, duh. Isn't it? So Prabhupada's preaching is like, hello everybody. Do you realize what's going on? What time's prasadam, Prabhupada? I'm really hungry. That's like, isn't it? That's what's going on for us. That's our unfortunate condition. I'm tired, I'll finish my rounds tomorrow. Is there anything to eat? I thought you were tired. Yeah, I'm not that tired, I could eat something. Isn't it? So this is what Prabhupada's dealing with. And he's trying to get this in our head that you can actually, you could become a gopi or a gopa. You could be part of these leelas. You could actually merge in love, which is 1,000,000, zillion, quadrillion times greater than the greatest love you could experience on this world, and 1,000,000, quadrillion, trillion, billion times more happiness than you could ever imagine. And you're like, yeah, I don't know, think about it. Isn't it? Yes.
Under such circumstances in the material world, when you say hello or duh, you usually reach the end of your patience. You're like, if this guy doesn't get it, I'm moving on. But Srila Prabhupada demonstrated phenomenal
Yeah,
patience
yeah.
and tolerance and never gave up on anyone. How can we get that quality?
Because I think there's two things. He's asking, how is it Prabhupada was so patient? There are different reasons. One is he knew the process works, and he knew if he just can keep people in the process long enough, it's like you're a little kid and you don't want to take a bath, and I kind of like to hold you in the bathtub long enough. I can just hold you for 3 minutes. I can wash you, and you're like, ah! You're jumping out, and I know just to take me 3 minutes. So it's like if I can just keep you, don't leave Krishna consciousness, somewhere or other stay. If I can just keep you here chanting long enough, at a certain point, 30, 40 years, it's going to start working. So he knew that. It was a desire of his spiritual master and the whole disciplic succession. And he had no envy. So if you have no envy, you only have affection and compassion. So if you only have affection and compassion, basically you're unlimitedly tolerant. That comes at that level when you love Krishna. You love everybody. So if you love everybody, then you won't give up on anybody. You see, like, somebody would leave Prabhupada.
Except for Mr. Nair.
Yeah, except for Mr. Everyone's going back to Godhead except for Mr. Nair. Yeah. People left Krishna consciousness, they turned against Prabhupada. He'd always take him back. Because he always wanted to give them Krishna. That's what his job was, right? So, we get irritated with people because they don't do what we want. They make our lives difficult. And Prabhupada wasn't like that. I mean, occasionally, if somebody was just obstinate. If somebody's just obstinately wasting Prabhupada's time, then, he has to be practical. But anybody could do anything, and he always would accept them back if they were willing to follow him, because he was always ready to give love. And he had so much of it. So.
May some of us here been close to that point, actually, in previous lives.
It's possible.
To 3 feet away from the Everest.
Yeah.
Especially young devotees who leave very early.
But that 3 feet looks far. That's the problem. We're 3 feet away, but for us it looks like we can't make it or it's too much trouble. But yeah, that's why we're still here. Most likely, all of us were devotees in the past, or had some engagement in devotional service, especially those who are very serious and very early on in their devotional service, take to it and are very serious and really into it. Or those devotees who just kind of naturally are devotees and they can't, you ask them, did you ever think about leaving Krishna consciousness? And they're like, no, I couldn't imagine that. What would I do? I'd commit suicide. Obviously, they were engaged in devotional service in the past. So that means, we didn't make it. That means somehow or other, there's some conditioning got us. I was talking with my wife about marriages, about people who are compatible, have high compatibility charts. And we were talking about that. And she said, yeah, but one of her friends said, she was discussing with one of her friends, and he said, Bhakti Vidyapurna Swami made a nice point. He said, it's not just about compatibility, but you have to look at what's not compatible. Because you may have 100 things compatible and one thing completely incompatible, and that destroys it. Right? The chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So, you have all these good qualities, and then some weakness, and just, where do you think Maya's going to work? She's going to look at your weakness. She's going to work on that. You get up every morning, you chant your rounds, you read Bhagavatam, this and that, but you've got some weakness. You're envious, or you're proud, or you're lusty, or you're greedy, something. She's going to work on that. Right? It's cruel, but we need it. Well, I would say, if we have a weakness and we don't work on it, then we're just stupid. isn't it? Like, if I have a weakness and you say, Mahatma, you have like so many good qualities, why are you allowing this one weakness to destroy you? From your perspective, looking at me, it's just crazy. It doesn't make any sense, right? But we don't look at ourselves that way. You're thinking, God, he's like stupid. He's got so many good qualities and he's allowing this one attachment to ruin him. So it's kind of stupid. Weakness of the heart is also weakness of intelligence. They go together. In different places in Shastra you'll find that. It's weakness of the heart and weakness of intelligence. It's like they're almost, you can use the same word. It's like the same thing. You know? So hopefully this pastime will inspire us to want love. If you just want it, that's it. Then you're good. You'll get it. You'll try for it. Right? Yeah. Well, any pastime, but this pastime especially it's got so much rasa in it. And Mother Yashoda is exhibiting love equal to Radharani's love. So it's extremely intense. It was said yesterday when we finished class, Yashoda and Krishna, they had made up and they were embracing, and they lost their identity. It was like they just became one person. That love just united them. What do we know of love? What do we know of love? Pretty cute, isn't she? What do you think? Oh yeah, those eyes, yeah. That's what we know of love, you know. What about the other one? Nah, she's too fat. I could never love her. That's what we know of love. What do the ladies know of love? He's got big muscles and a lot of money. This guy's got big muscles, nice blue eyes, but he's broke. Nah, forget that bum. I could never love him. So that's love for us. Love is, comes with all these conditions, I always think of this comedy routine. We do the arranged marriage, and we say, they have never seen one another before. It is their wedding day. It's like a documentary, but it's like actually a comedy, nobody knows it. It's their wedding day. And the first time he's going to see his wife is when he opens the veil. Then he opens the veil and she's got big fang teeth, and 10 teeth missing and got fang teeth and hair's all frizzy and he goes, ah, and he runs away, So, that, yeah.
It's a story, my bazaar. It's a story, the Shastra, my bazaar.
True story?
It's about Krishna.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. But that would demonstrate, what is love. I can't love this woman. So, what do we know of love? That's one thing we know of love. And then we know of love of when somebody loves us, we can love them, maybe. Like you're asking the question about Prabhupada. So what did Prabhupada know about love? Why is he loving us? What do we do to deserve it? What do we ever do for him? Nothing. That's the nature of love. No, but you give it and the person doesn't have to deserve it. So that's the condition we're coming from. And we're so stupid, we call this love. It's like our brains are made out of jelly or something, like the wires are disconnected. Like in Kali Yuga, all the wires that, were connected in other ages spiritually, they all got disconnected. So it's like, I love God, give me another beer. It's like disconnected brains. God loves you, and if you don't believe him, he's going to send you to burn in hell forever. God loves you and burn in hell forever. Wires crossed. Malfunction. That's Kali Yuga, isn't it? So what do we know of love? Wow. I love that pizza. That's my favorite pizza. I just love it. I love that restaurant. That's what we know of love. Oh, that's sorry. I love it. Mataji, could you give me that sorry? It's so beautiful. That's a story I heard yesterday where in the early days, a devotee brought a sari and all the brahmacharinis were poor, they didn't have anybody. And she convinced her to give it to him because she was a Brahmin and said, you know you should give charity to a Brahmin. It's really good for you. And so you should give me that sari. Because she was in love with that sari. I'm in love with that sari. Isn't it? So that's the problem we're coming from. Because our experience of love is like, it's like now we say you should call every woman Mataji, right? And they're going, but it's Kali Yuga, this isn't working anymore. Because I didn't even love my mother, I had complete disrespect for my mother. If I call you Mataji, I might spit in your face, because that's Mataji doesn't mean anything to me anymore. So it's like, you can't even love Kali Yuga, you don't even love your mother. We're like, it's like, it's sad. Yes?
Well, you were talking about the story with the sari, but the person who had the sari and really liked it gave it up to the Brahman. That's
At gunpoint.
at gunpoint.
More or less. Verbal gunpoint.
But if she had given it out of sacrifice,
Yeah, it's better, yeah.
then there's some sort of glimpse.
Yeah. Well, like the loving exchanges with devotees. So we're supposed to learn love by offering gifts, offering prasadam, revealing our mind. So we're learning to love here, one another. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. You never heard that song? Yes? No? What? It's from what was the group? The Youngbloods? Is that it?
It's a well way, it's a few decades back.
1965 or 6? Yeah. So, maybe we should adopt that song for ISKCON. That could be the theme song for the Nectar of Instruction. Come on, people now. Get together. Try to... What is it? Everybody try to love your brother, one another right now. Yeah. Come on, people now. Get together. He's going to pull it up. Yeah. So that... No, but here's the real thing. This is very important. We can end with this. We didn't even get to read today. Here's the real thing. I'm postponing because pretty soon this is going to end, and then we're going to forget Damodar. So I'm trying to keep the classes going so we remember him. Krishna manifest as Guru. Guru Tattva. Krishna's the Guru, and whoever becomes Guru is representing Krishna. So you see the Guru as a representative of Krishna. And it's so easy to love the Guru because the Guru is connecting you to Krishna. It's natural, right? So it is said in Shastra something amazing. It said the first time you'll ever understand what real love is in your life is when you meet your Guru. That's the first moment you understand what real love is, when you meet your Guru. Isn't it? You have that experience? That's like, oh my God, this is the via media to God. Like I tell the story, when I met Prabhupada, I had been reading Gita for a few months, and then I met Prabhupada, and I just started crying, and I wasn't even a brahmachari yet. I was still a mamachari. I was a padachari still, a ganja acharya still. Ganjachari, mamachari, girlfriend-chari. But still, when I saw Prabhupada, I cried. And I was always trying to figure out why. Because the last time I cried was when my girlfriend left me. Other than that, I'd never cry. no question. Men are tough, they don't cry. You fall off your bike, you get up, are you all right? Yeah, there's blood all over you, You're half dizzy, are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine, leave me alone, I'll be okay. That's a man, we don't cry. The only time we cry is when your girlfriend says, it's over. Oh, don't leave me. That's the only time you cry. So, my last relationship, I left her, so I didn't cry. So I hadn't cried in a while. And then I saw Prabhupada and I cried. And then I realized, 45 years later, I finally figured out that I must have subconsciously understood that here's the person that's going to take me out of the material world. And my dormant love for Krishna was coming out for Prabhupada through him understanding in some subtle way that he's going to connect me to Krishna. So more love for him came out than anybody. And then I think in my last Vyas Puja, I don't know where you could read it, maybe it's on my website. The last Vyas Puja was all about how Prabhupada became my father. He gave me everything that my father never gave me. It was like, my father never told me anything about life. He told me everything about life. And he couldn't answer any questions. He answered all the questions, like that. So that's how love starts, through Guru. Yes?
All those things you mentioned, were those things that you expected from your father before you met Prabhupada, and then that was sort of a fulfillment?
Some were, and some I didn't.
By the way, you were right on both counts, 1965 and the Young Bloods.
Oh, yeah. And I saw them in Hollywood. And I could drive to the place I saw them, but I can't remember the name of it. No. Maybe the Aquarius Theater. If there is such a place. They played there. Okay, I have to make a confession. I saw the Youngbloods. I saw Jimi Hendrix, Jefferson Airplane, Cream, Janis Joplin, The Doors. These are all classic bands from the 60s. And anyone who's into that music scene, when I tell them I saw all those bands, they're like, I can't stand it. You saw them. Saw the Beatles. Wow, the Beatles. And one historian said that the contribution of the hippie movement was their music and poetry. And it was the last generation of youth that actually had brains that still worked. He didn't say it that way, but basically he said it was the last generation of people that actually offered something of value to society through their poetry, through their music. I mean, Bob Dylan, they study him in university. You know that? They have classes in the music of Bob Dylan, the lyrics of Bob Dylan. Anyway, and what you see when Prabhupada came, in the renunciation that everyone made, is they found their guru and they fell in love with him. That's when they first experienced love. And so we could do all these amazing things because love is the most powerful force. So we could give up so much out of love. Now, today, it's, the movement's a little different. We were fortunate to have Prabhupada here and just extract so much love from our hearts. It was just amazing. The austerity we did. Now, you ask any of my godbrothers, and they'll look at the brahmacharis today with their MacBooks, their iPads, this and that, their phones, and we look at that and we think it's so funny. Because the only thing we had was a Bhagavad Gita and a book bag. We didn't even own an underwear. We didn't even own our own dhoti. We did not own a dhoti. And all we possessed was 6 feet on the ground, and a sleeping bag, and a Bhagavad Gita. Not even clothes. We didn't even own clothes.
But with the last few minutes of talking indicating the generation owning their independent devices and the intelligence, perhaps socially, the 60s movement added to the world's understanding of sociality, people in general. Does that mean that it's a harder thing for them to attain Krishna bring them, the brahmacharis and the brahmacharinis of today,
Well,
or can they still actually find a way?
yes and no. I think it's just, when Prabhupada was here, it was just special. You know, you can't say it's hard, you can't say you can't get it if you don't want it, because so many people didn't get it with Prabhupada here. But the one thing that Prabhupada did, that definitely did, is so many people came and sacrificed so much, even if they only stayed for a few years. And a lot of people came and did amazing things, and then they left. It was like, somebody comes, he becomes a brahmachari, he's completely surrendered. He develops some projects, becomes a temple president or an amazing book distributor, this or that. And then 3 or 4 years later, he's gone, you never see him again. It's like, and you all look and think, what just happened? How could he be so into it and then so out of it? And doesn't even become a congregational member, just disappears. And like, you know, one day you're on Sankirtan, you know, 50 years, 40 years later, and you meet somebody who goes, oh yeah, I used to be a brahmachari in the temple. My name is Jai Gopal, and I helped build the, this and that project, and he's just out there. It looks like an ordinary person, and it's like, how did that happen? It's like Prabhupada's power. It just brought people in. They experienced love. They got some Shakti, and then they did it.
They were supposed to understand Prabhupada's powers eternally into this ISKCON movement. So.
But the personal association is special. Yeah, of course, ultimately, we're associating with Prabhupada through following Krishna consciousness and reading his books. But it takes more effort to get that association. So, I just notice the difference now. I'm not saying in India, but outside of India, with a little bit of the standard of, like the standard of living and the standard of distraction and the standard of austerity and everything, it's so much different. I mean, when we were young, so many people, they just moved into the temple and there was no transition because they were just living in parks anyway and living in people's living room floors. So it's like the hippies were living austerely. They liked that, So it was like, okay, Prabhupada comes in and it's perfect, and you have these people who are austere. But in any case, this discussion of love, it's really, this point really clarifies it, that the Guru is the key element. That this is your first experience of love was not actually the first girl you fell in love with. That wasn't really love, and it wasn't eating pizza at your favorite restaurant. That wasn't love, and it wasn't your favorite pair of Nike shoes, even though you loved them. That wasn't your experience of love. And even it wasn't your mother and father, because when you turn a teenager and they say something you don't like, they just frustrate you and drive you nutty. You just want to leave home, get away from them. Right? So that's not really your experience of real love. When you meet your Guru, what do you feel? You feel like, I could do anything for this person. Right? That's your first experience of love. And people say, how do I know who my Guru is? I'm trying to choose a Guru, how do I know? Do you feel like you want to do anything for him? You can do anything? Because that's a sign of Guru-disciple. Nowadays it's more like, Guru Maharaj, just don't ask me to do this. I'll do anything you want, but just not this. Let me see what else is on my list. Okay, let me get my phone out. Oh yeah. And also not this, and this. But anything else I'll do. So, yes. They're already
respectable.
They're respectable people.
People observe them from the side. So people already they bow down to them.
Wait, what's going on? They bow down
To those people who are first or second initiated.
Oh. Like people bow to you because you're initiated. Is that what you're saying? So in principle, as you advance, people bow down to you. Yeah, okay.
At that moment, some person comes,
ты не можешь на него смотреть, это просто вдруг из прошлого, или это может быть выпит правого крыла.
devotee from the right wing.
И все на тебя смотрят и думают, как ты будешь реагировать, ты же должен выглядеть.
Everyone looks at you, how will you react? Because you're supposed to love everyone.
Everyone looks at your reaction. So what's the question?
Если у тебя есть инициация, имеешь ли ты право быть настоящим и не здороваться иногда?
Even if you have initiation, do you have the right to be authentic, not to even greet somebody and just pass by?
So you're asking, as you advance, you get more respect. And you feel you don't really deserve it or you don't want it. So, if somebody offers you respect, you saying, can you just not take it because you don't feel you deserve it? Is that the question?
Нет, вопрос в том, что как ведет себя человек, который в инициации, если у него возникает что-то какому-то человеку негативно.
No, the question is, well, how should a person behave first if he has a first or second initiation, but he has some negative emotions towards another person? And how should he behave in the situation? Because other people are observing your behavior.
Oh, so I'm a senior devotee and you're interacting with me and I have bad feelings towards you. What should I do? What do you think you should do? What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Krishna doesn't say, if you have negative feelings towards someone, it's okay to mistreat them. You may want to be a little distant from them, right? That's okay. But he doesn't say you should mistreat them or make their life difficult. Yeah, do whatever you want, yeah. You have the right to mistreat somebody. You see, when you ask this question, part of you is thinking, is it okay just to kind of right, not deal with them, right? You can politely not deal with them, not offensively, just, yeah, just like you and I don't mix. We come together and it doesn't work. I expect something from you, you expect something from me, it doesn't work. So we serve separately. No hard feelings. Some people don't get along. Some gurus and disciples sometimes don't mix. Sometimes. I mean, that's more serious if that happens. But sometimes people don't, husbands and wives, so that's okay. Prabhupada said, that's fine. Birds of a feather. You should stay together with like-minded devotees. That's fine. Just don't offend anybody that you don't like. What about so-and-so? We're just different. We work separately. He's a nice devotee, she's a nice devotee. But we think differently, so we work in different departments. Like that. Yeah? Yes? No?
You mentioned a moment ago that sometimes guru and disciple aren't compatible. So what happens when, we have one example with Chaitanya Lila, where Shamananda Pandit, got his Siddhadeha in Madhurya Lila, and his guru was Sakyaras. And there was some friction there. So when we see, not such an elevated example,
Yeah.
we see an example of a very, perfectly realized, wonderful guru, capable of delivering all of his disciples, but then one or two disciples, maybe they have a different mood, they're also very, very advanced, and
Yeah.
very interested in serving Srila Prabhupada's mission, but in a different way. then what is
the etiquette? To not disrespect, number one. Never disrespect the guru. But you can have many Siksha gurus. And sometimes it does come to that point for some people. It's not that common, but it does come to that point for some people, that what their guru is instructing them, it's not working for them. It's not resonating with them. Now, there are people that will not resonate with any guru. They just don't resonate with a principle of authority. They can't. So you have to, if that's the case, then there's no, you can get all the Siksha gurus you want, and whatever problem you have with your Diksha guru, you'll have the same problem with all your Siksha gurus. But in other cases, it may be that, let's say your service is in book distribution and your guru's service is in Varnashram. And so all his talks are about Varnashram, and you're going out in the streets of New York City, and it's just, it's nice, but it's not working for you. So
how is the guru, how does he generally understand and interact with such a disciple?
I don't know how he generally does, but I can tell you what he's supposed to do. Was that offensive? If the disciple's having difficulty and the disciple wants to take shelter of another guru, and the Diksha guru sees that there's other devotees, a nice devotee, and can help, then he'll be happy to let them take shelter. He just wants to make sure that there's no disrespect on the part of the Diksha disciple. They're not like thinking, well, actually, you're not very Krishna conscious, and I don't really think you represent Prabhupada. And, you say things that I don't think are right. If that's why they're moving out, then generally he would try to fix that. To make sure that you could recognize, okay, from this person, maybe your natures are better to work together. So that's a positive thing. But if it's like, I'm moving away from you, so I found this person, then that's not exactly the best. Because you don't really want to move away from your Diksha guru. You always want to maintain appreciation and respect and so forth. Every situation is different. So I've seen devotees whose relationship with their Diksha guru was non-existent, basically. And so they took shelter of another guru as a Siksha disciple, and so they got mercy from that guru, because they lost the mercy from their Diksha guru. And it was really bad for them to have lost the mercy. So sometimes that happens. And sometimes it's, the guru just can't deal with that disciple, and another guru can. Sometimes it's like that, for whatever reason. Either the guru is driving the disciple crazy, the disciple is driving the guru crazy. They're both driving one another crazy. Sometimes it could happen like that,
The example that I talked about before with Chaitanya.
That's a little different, yeah.
And there was some conflict between the two gurus. Chaitanya was going to get on G.P. Goswami's case.
Yeah. So there's a history there.
So what if there's that? What if there's some conflict between a Diksha and a Shiksha guru that goes beyond just...
That does happen. And that's unfortunate. Sometimes the Siksha guru may kind of be defending the disciple, because the Siksha guru may feel that the Diksha guru is being unreasonably creating problems for the... It's not really that the disciple is bad or wrong or whatever, but he's misunderstanding, or he expects something the disciple can't do. So then sometimes the Siksha guru may just come and be a little heavy, especially if he's older, he can be.
What if there's a conflict that has nothing to do with the disciple that already exists between the Diksha and the Shiksha guru?
And the Diksha guru may say, I don't want you to take Siksha from that guru because we don't get along. He may say that, or he may say it's fine because he knows that guru can guide him. And he might say, well, if you take shelter of him, just let him guide you, and you can be under his guidance now. So he kind of pulls out. So he's, the there's two functions of the Diksha Guru. One is to give Diksha and one is to give Siksha, but he can give Diksha without Siksha. Somebody else, you can get Siksha from someone else. So that's, he did his function. Okay, here's your initiation. You're initiated now. You want to take Siksha somewhere else? Okay, then you do that.
We see some examples of great gurus that have many, many disciples, and then they have, second, mentors under them.
Yeah.
That they put the disciples under them, so it's sort of a hierarchy.
Yeah.
Not always direct.
Yeah. Yeah. And so naturally, sometimes the Siksha Guru may see there's some defect in the relationship between the Siksha Diksha and the disciple, and he may just instruct that Siksha disciple in a little different way than his Diksha Guru because he thinks it's better, and hopefully the Diksha Guru will be okay. A lot of what's happening nowadays in ISKCON is the Diksha Guru has so many disciples, he doesn't even know. Disciple writes him, he's got like 5,000, disciple writes him, I'm taking shelter of this person, and I think it's better for me. It's like, okay. How can you even know? You have that many disciples, what's going on, who they are. That would be difficult.
I remember one heartbreaking situation where one disciple came to Guru's Vyasa Puja and offered obeisances, and the Guru asked, what's your name again?
Yeah. Well, that's not as bad as whose disciple is he? That's one stage worse. Is he my disciple? Yeah, it's to be expected if you have that many. If you decide to take initiation from a guru who has thousands of disciples, then don't be disappointed if he doesn't remember your name or even know if he initiated you, because, I don't even have that many, and sometimes I forget. I was actually looking at my database the other day, because it's not like I'm in one place and I see them all the time. But I have disciples in all these countries, So if I haven't gone there for a while, I have to remember.
I know there's actually several gurus in ISKCON that have a database, and they study it regularly, almost like Prabhupada's books.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's, they're your disciples, and you want to pray for them and be in touch with them. But once you have over 100, 200, it's like, it's already, Yeah, I said, there's a figure, 150 is a community. Beyond 150, you can't have personal relationships.
Beyond 150.
People, yeah. Like a community of 150, you can be personal with everybody. Beyond that, you can't be.
So, in a community that's 150, they develop cliques?
Yeah, they will, but you can still know everybody.
But if it goes more than 150, then there has to be some subdivision.
Yeah, well, they're just saying you won't have personal relationships over 150.
But everyone needs personal relationships.
You won't know. It's like if you have a temple basically what they're saying is you have a temple of 150 or less, you'll know everybody's name. Well, they're saying you can't remember more than 150. How will you remember everybody? It's too much. When it starts getting large, I don't know if you've ever been in large temples, 300-400 devotees. Yeah, well, this is like uniquely. But, back in Prabhupada's time, we had temples with like 300-400 devotees. So a lot of them were just faces, you kind of like, Haribol Prabhu,
But then departments developed, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, they have so many things to say here, but I think we should stop because it's late and everybody's hungry, right? And sleepy. And we want pizza. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to end. Sorry I couldn't get to your comments, but I read them after. Okay? So what do we call this class? The straight sauce? Is that the title? Or what were you saying? There was another expression. Blunt. Mahatma unplugged. Mahatma unveiled. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hare